Hello. In today's Booknet Academy lesson, we'll be talking about an important sales and advertising tool for your book, the cover. The principles that govern cover design were developed by marketing specialists long ago. It doesn't matter whether your book is free or costs money, the principles are the same no matter what. The cover needs to help the author gain readers. As an author, you will always need to remember that the first thing that catches the reader eye is the cover, and only after they see it do they read the story description, which often isn't displayed in full in the feed, or might not even be visible at all. This is the case with the mobile version of the website and in the Android and iPhone apps. The cover is more than just a sales tool, it's also an advertising tool because your book may land in the advertising widgets on Booknet. If that happens, the cover is even more important because the description won't be visible while the author's name, title and genre play only a secondary role. This sort of advertising isn't expensive, but for some reason many authors do not make the most of it. Still, a book cover can be more or less successful. It's important to do it right. After it attracts the reader's attention, the cover shapes their expectations of the book, and unfortunately, it often misleads them. Let's take as an example a cover that shows a couple embracing. The woman is ravishing and the man is rugged. What do you expect the book to be about? Well, you probably think it's a romance. What if the image is a skull or sun or palm trees? What is the book about? What will probably happen is that many potential readers won't even bother to think about that. They'll just skip over this book and the author will lose them. Readers want to see the book's protagonist or protagonists on the cover. Rugged, masculine men, beautiful damsels in distress, aggressive werewolves or brooding guys clutching swords and assault rifles. The cover needs to show the story that's at the centre of the book's plot. If the story is about relationships, it should show a couple embracing, dancing and even bickering. If it's about how a brave guy roughs up some bullies, the cover should show the main character fighting his antagonist to the ground. Another important detail you need to think about is the colours. Readers tend to pay less attention to dark coloured covers because they look monotonous and they're not very appealing. We understand that there's some dark genres on Booknet that authors may think require dark covers, but if your book looks too much like other books, for example in the widget, you risk losing many readers. Even if your book belongs to one of these dark genres, you can design an attractive, colourful cover that will grab readers' attention. Here's another important thing to keep in mind. Look at this cover. It has one name on it while the book is published on Booknet by an author using a totally different pen name. What happens then? The Booknet moderator will remove this book from the platform because they think that the content is pirated. So make sure that the author name that appears on the cover matches the name that's in your Booknet profile. So what exactly makes a cover effective? Well, let's recap what we already talked about and then we'll look at some examples of good and bad covers. 1. The book cover is free advertising that can help you gain readers and make the most of this opportunity. 2. The image shouldn't create false expectations about the book. The cover needs to give readers an accurate idea of what the book is about. 3. Make sure that the name on the cover of your book matches the name in your profile. 4. Readers pay less attention to dark coloured covers because they look monotonous and they're not very attractive. Try to design a multicoloured cover that will grab readers' attention and stand out from the dozens of other books in the same genre. 5. Readers want to see the protagonist or protagonists on the book cover. It's also a good idea to show the story that's at the centre of the plot. Now let's go through some helpful hints on creating covers for ebooks. That's something that's especially important to pay attention to. We also need to talk about the mistakes authors and designers often make when they're designing covers. Let's start with this example, which you can see right off the bat has a few design errors. This cover uses a handwriting font on top of an image that's already hard to make out. The font colour is similar to the overall colour palette. That makes the text illegible when it's reduced. The book title should take up at least 1/4 of the cover. That way, even if you change the font colour and size when you reduce the image, everything will still be legible. This one example shows most of the common design errors all together. There's an inelegant combination of images and the colour palette and perspective are violated. As you can see in the image, the woman has unnatural grey colouring, and so do the piano keys which take up half the cover. As for the man, we can only see his head and his neck. Once again, the text is a handwriting font that's hard to read. It's better to just keep one main element to make the text easy to read than to try squeeze in every element and do a shoddy job. Minimalism always looks neat. In this example, you can see a copyright violation. Remember that every image on the web has a legal owner. If you use someone else's work, then the best case scenario, you'll be mocked by readers, and in the worst case scenario, the owner of the image could sue you. There are many websites where you can find images that you can use for free or for a small fee without violating any copyright laws. Tips for designing your own cover or commissioning a designer to make one. 1. The title is the centre of the reader's attention. 2. The simpler the better. Focus directly on the main element rather than on a bunch of small details. 3. Take into account where the reader will see your book. Will they be looking for it on the page of a particular genre, or will they see it in the advertising widget? The cover needs to reflect the style of the genre and spark the reader's interest. That's it. Thank you for joining us today.